and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum. Sabah al-Neksan. Sabah al-Khair. And Minardek and Minardesh. Bonjour. I hope I've habari za asubuhi. I think I've completed all the languages. Mwasuze mutia. I hope there's no complaint. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all raise to welcome our senior officials who have come to grace our occasion. His Excellency Dr. Warkene Gebeyu, His Excellency Dr. Fikru Regasa, and may I take this opportunity to invite the representative of USAID. May I also take this opportunity to invite Dr. Fatuma Mohamed Ahmed Rahma from the Republic of Sudan and Chair of IGAD. Okay, our high table is fully constituted. Shall we resume our seats, ladies and gentlemen? Excellency Dr. Fikru Regasa, State Minister for Agriculture, the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Excellency Dr. Warkene Gebeyu, Executive Secretary of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development and Chair of the IDDRSI Platform Steering Committee. Dr. Fatuma Mohamed Ahmed Rahma, Director General for International Relations, the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, Republic of Sudan, and Chair of IGAD. And then we also have our distinguished partners represented by USAID, the Global Partnership, our IGAD partners in development, civil society representatives, management and staff of IGAD Secretariat, the media, ladies and gentlemen. I am Mubarak Mabuya. I serve at the Intergovernmental Authority on Development Secretariat in Djibouti as the Manager for Cooperation and Partnerships, and I'm highly privileged to be your MC this morning at the opening of the 14th Platform Steering Committee of the IDDRSI, which is the IGAD Drought, Disaster Resilience and Sustainability Initiative. The 14th meeting of the IDDRSI Platform Steering Committee is convened under the theme, Consolidating the Path to Resilience and Sustainability, Scaling Up Humanitarian Actions and Resilience Investments. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, my role is a simple one, to introduce the agenda and to, of course, welcome you in my capacity as the MC, but of course the official welcome will be made by His Excellency Dr. Warkene Gebeyu, the Executive Secretary of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development and Chair of the IDDRSI Platform Steering Committee. The agenda this morning for the opening ceremony will have a statement from the Global Alliance by Dr. Yassine Osman, the Acting Office Director for the Relief and Resilience, USAID Ethiopia Mission. We will have a welcome statement by His Excellency Dr. Warkene Gebeyu, the Executive Secretary of IGAD and also the Chairperson of IDDRSI Platform Steering Committee. We will then hear from our Chair of IGAD, from the Republic of Sudan, represented here by Dr. Fatuma Mohamed Ahmed Rahma, who is the head of delegation of the Sudanese delegation to this meeting, and also the Director General for International Relations in the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry. Thereafter, we will have our official opening statement from our chief guest and host, Dr. Fikru Regasa, State Minister for Agriculture, Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, after which the closing ceremony will be officially concluded with a media session and a group photo, as well as some interviews. Thereafter, we'll have a health break, and then the platform steering committee meeting starts proper. The full agenda of the meeting will be presented by the chair after break for your adoption. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my singular honor and privilege to invite Dr. Yasin Osman, the Acting Director for Relief and Resilience from USAID Ethiopia Mission, to make his remarks on behalf of the development partners and the Global Alliance. Please take the floor.
So, good morning, bonjour, subawanaxen. Unfortunately, I don't master as many languages as our distinguished master of ceremony, but it is truly a pleasure to be here today, and thank you to the IGAD team for their invitation. Her Excellency Dr. Fatuma, His Excellency Executive Secretary Dr. Vorkine, and His Excellency Minister of Agriculture Mr. Umar, it's a pleasure to share the stage with you today. On behalf of the Global Alliance for Action for Drought, Resilience and Growth, it's a pleasure to be here at the IDDRSI Steering Committee meeting. We are very concerned about the multiple shocks and stresses the region is facing that are putting a strain on economic development and households. Of concern are the prolonged drought and the negative impact on Putin's unprovoked war on Ukraine and on the food security consequences it has on the region. I look forward to discussing how development partners can continue to support your efforts in achieving sustainable and inclusive development and to address these current shocks and stresses in a holistic and coordinated manner. The Global Alliance has provided considerable financial and technical support to resilience building efforts in the Horn of Africa since IGAD's call for support to end drought and emergencies in the region over a decade ago. Our support has led to improvements in livestock productivity and competitiveness, diversified livelihoods, increased resilience capacities, bolstered better early warning systems, coordination and joint planning interventions, and improvements in government systems. But of course, much work remains to be done. As we provide support and resources in the regions, we acknowledge and appreciate all of the efforts of the IGAD Secretariat, member states, and other actors that have been instrumental in articulating and advocating for a bold vision like the IDDRSI strategy, which is a holistic and comprehensive plan. The goal is to build the resilience of communities vulnerable to recurrent droughts in order to achieve sustainable development. Although progress has been made over the years in the region, the number of people in need for humanitarian aid has increased as a result of the multiple shocks previously mentioned, including the current drought and conflict, as well as COVID-19 and desert locust in the region. Pastoralists, women, children, and cross-border populations are particularly vulnerable to these recurrent shocks. As Global Alliance partners, we remain committed to gathering the political and financial support to build resilience and sustainable development in the Horn of Africa, not only from donors and development partners, but also from all of you as joint partners in this matter. Together we can make progress here in the region, protecting those most vulnerable and reducing the need for humanitarian relief and promoting inclusive development. Allocating adequate resources and targeting these effectively to address regional challenges is critical to progress towards resilience and prosperous economics and societies. As we invest resources, tracking progress against goals is hugely important. In order to gauge how we have delivered on implementing regional strategies and countries' development agendas to be as responsive to shocks. We are aware that the shocks and stresses in the region are transcending borders. Hence, we need a multidimensional and collaborative platform that operates across borders and donors, and which puts the actions and responsibilities of IGAD member states here in the regions at the center. As development partners, we at the Global Alliance must continue to taking deliberative steps to have more coordinated and joint efforts with everyone here to achieve collective impact that is transformational and tailored to the needs of the region. You know, it is as a representative of the US government, it's a pleasure for me to have to reinforce the statement which was made by USAID's administrator Samantha Power on Monday in a press conference in Washington, D.C., where USAID committed $1.3 billion in additional resources to respond to the drought in the Horn of Africa, out of which $200 million will be dedicated towards ready-to-use therapeutic foods to address nutrition in the area specifically affecting children. This demonstrates the solidarity of the American people with those affected by the drought in the Horn of Africa. Just yesterday here in Addis Ababa, the US Embassy in Addis announced $55 million for Ethiopia to support food systems and build resilience as consequences to the shocks of the high food prices emanating from the war in Ukraine. In order to use these resources effectively, coordination is critical. And this is why this meeting today is so important, to maximize our joint effort and impact, because the scale of the problem is truly one that we have not seen in a generation. We know that humanitarian assistance is critical in life-saving, but by itself is not enough. We also need to invest in resilience. In a study that we conducted in 2018 here in Ethiopia, we found that for every dollar we invested in resilience, we saved $3.3 in future humanitarian aid. Therefore, we need to ensure that these scarce resilience resources are spent most effectively. This is especially true in this current drought. We've seen that millions of livestock have already perished. In a normal drought cycle, it takes about 4 years to recover for pastoralist communities to have a herd size of a viable size. We've also seen that droughts are occurring every 3 to 4 years. This means that given current projections, pastoralists, if they recover, they will only recover just in time for the next drought cycle to hit, which means that it's upon all of us to rethink resilience and recovery in this area. This means strengthening existing social safety nets, more market-oriented pastoralism, diversified livelihoods, and also supporting a transition into a more urban population in order to help build true resilience and establish a recovery once that is to occur. Finally, you know, shocks have become very common in the region. However, there is no immunity to the suffering that a shock causes. It doesn't matter whether it's the first shock or the 20th shock. The population, the experience, the pain and the suffering that they experience remains the same. That is why we as a US government and a member of the Global Alliance, as USAID, are committed to continue working with all the IGAD member states on addressing the consequences of the drought. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I expect a louder clap than that for our partners, Global Alliance. We thank you, our partners, Global Alliance, and for that statement of solidarity, the statement of commitment, and indeed a statement of resilience, because you've been with us all the way for over 10 years. These droughts have been recurring, but you have not tired in terms of the partnership with us, in terms of responding to these challenges that affect the lives and livelihoods of our people. So we thank you for that statement, and we hope that from this meeting we'll be able to, again, open new chapters in terms of addressing the new challenges that are combined, as you did state in your statement, about the rising food prices, inflation, and so on and so forth, that serve to exacerbate the situations that are already unfavorable. Ladies and gentlemen, driving the agenda of resilience, and if we look at our theme, which is about consolidating the path to resilience and sustainability and scaling up humanitarian actions and resilience investments, requires astute and visionary leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, within IGAD, we are blessed to have this kind of leadership. And may you join me in welcoming none other than His Excellency, Dr. Warken Negebeyu, the Executive Secretary of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development and Chair of the IDDRSI Platform Steering Committee, to address us, welcome us officially, since he's the host of the PSC. It will come us officially, and to give us his vision and direction in terms of pursuing this very important theme in terms of consolidating. And the words have been used advisably. We are consolidating the path to resilience. Your Excellency, you're most welcome to address us and to make your statement. Thank you very much, Excellency. Please take the floor.
Thank you very much, Mubarak, for your able driving us ably to this very important meeting. And good morning. Welcome to Addis Ababa. So let me make my speech, a welcoming speech to you, to all our brothers and sisters who came from different directions, but from the same region. Just to give you the version of IGAD Secretariat and to leave the forum to our member states to make, to strengthen, and finally to come out this discussion. So I recognize the presence of His Excellency Dr. Fikru Ragasa, the State Minister of Agriculture of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Her Excellency Dr. Fatuma Mohammed, Director General, International Relations, Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, the Republic of Sudan, our chair, the Global Alliance, Dr. Yassin Osman, Acting Officer, Director of Relief and Resilience, USAID, Ethiopia, distinguished delegates of IGAD member states, distinguished representatives of development partners, all protocol is observed. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to Ethiopia, specifically Addis Ababa, and invite you as a chairperson of this platform to listen to my remarks at the 14th IDDRSI Platform Steering Committee meeting. Your Excellencies, my colleagues, it continues to do so now. This platform that has brought us together today was established 11 years ago by the heads of states of the IGAD region, EAC and development partners, following the severe drought of 2010 to 2011. This continues to do so now at this most critical time when we are facing the worst drought in the life of 14 years of this region. In these last 11 years, IGAD has supported member states through IDDRSI to develop joint programs that targeting regional issues through programs that address development challenges in cross-border areas. In this regard, we have been supported by our partners. I mentioned them, some of them, the African Development Bank, the World Bank, KfW, the European Union, SIDA Sweden, USAID, BMZ or GIZ, Islamic Development Bank, Denmark, Swiss Development Corporation, and UNDP. In addition, IDDRSI has benefited from the technical support of FAO, ILRI, and GIZ. I also wanted to recognize the generous support of the Swedish government, which has strengthened the coordination and implementation of IDDRSI. IGAD has been consistently working to strengthen resilience capacity in the pastoral and agro-pastoral communities in our region. That is, most of our pastoralist communities live, through cross-border development cooperation mechanism that contribute to regional integration. The Cross-Border Development Facilitation Unit, piloted in the Karamoja Cluster, service 4 countries, namely Ethiopia, Kenya, South Sudan, and Uganda, is now being scaled out to other clusters through various programs supported by IGAD, including the Borderland Resilience Project in collaboration with UNDP. Similar efforts are underway with the support of the European Union to build on proceeding cross-border development projects in 3 clusters of the region. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is also my pleasure to inform you at this point that IGAD is set to launch a mid-term review of the 15th year of IDDRSI, where we will draw lessons and inform improvements in the design and implementation of this very important program. This review will take into account existing and emerging challenges such as the COVID-19, desert locust, protracted conflicts within our region as well as internationally, macroeconomic shocks, which is caused by the issues that I mentioned earlier, and the current drought that we are going through. Our intention is to learn by doing in order to increase the adaptive capacities of our people to the complex situations they are facing. In this regard, lessons generated from phase 1 of IDDRSI have been translated to IDDRSI 2 or phase 2, which will subsequently inform phase 3 of this initiative. Your Excellencies, we are now in the midst of the worst drought in 4 decades, as I've said. The number of food insecure people has raised exponentially from 40.2 million in May 2022 to over 50 million now. To make matters worse, this is not just a food crisis, but also the combination of a food crisis, health crisis, as well as malnutrition among children, the elderly, and women in exceeding of 90 million in the 3 most affected countries, namely Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia. Additionally, it is also an economic crisis with over 7 million head of livestock, which are the main source of life for pastoralist communities of our region. In response of this, Your Excellencies, IDDRSI was established to build preparedness through early warning system and coordination mechanism at a regional, national, and subnational levels, as well as foster political commitment by our member states and like-minded development partners which are working with us. These circumstances we are in now compel to need for a program shift or paradigm shift where we should accept the impact of these multiple shocks, including the war, the conflict in Ukraine, which is directly affecting our region as well. This circumstance we are in now, to change we must require not only a do thing differently, but also a rethink of resilience programming in the region. The rethinking of resilience in our region is now the most important thing that this meeting should be challenged. So Dear colleagues, experts, scientists of our region, I challenge you to find innovative ideas that will put us on a transformative path toward more anticipatory and lasting outcome in the coming years, that the vicious circle that we are in. In closing, Your Excellencies, colleagues, I wish to thank the people and the government of Ethiopia, Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, for hosting this 14th IDDRSI Platform Steering Committee meeting, members of the steering committee who organized this thing, my team, very strong team of IDDRSI, and development partners for joining us both physically and online. And most importantly, our member states who are the backbone of our organization, who came from all our member states to participate here. So I thank all of you. I wish you a fruitful deliberation. Thank you very much. Amasaganalo.
Thank you. Again, I may ask you to put your hands together again, because the gentleman who has just spoken, His Excellency Dr. Warken Negebeyu, every day has to think about all the problems that he talked about. Desert locusts, the floods, the drought, the conflicts, and so on and so forth. It's on his desk. I don't know how many of us would be as resilient as he is, or you would throw in the towel tomorrow and say, this is too much for me, let me look for softer life. So Excellency, we thank you for that resilience and for continuing to provide this leadership over issues that affect everybody in the region, over issues that affect not only the region, but also have a global dimension. So we thank you for that statement and your vision, and also for welcoming us to the meeting officially so that business can proceed. Ladies and gentlemen, I was very, very worried looking at this panel, having a background on gender that would have been only men. But we want to thank the Republic of Sudan for sending us Her Excellency Dr. Fatuma Mohamed Ahmed Rahma, not to speak about gender, but to speak as the chair of IGAD at this meeting, and to deliver the statement of the chair on issues resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Fatuma is the Director General for International Relations in the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry in the Republic of Sudan, and she's heading the Sudan delegation to this steering committee, and she has some words for us from Khartoum. Excellency, you're most welcome. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all delegates, I am pleased to be here to attend and participate in this vital meeting, the 14th meeting of IDDRSI Platform Steering Committee under the theme Consolidating the Path to Resilience and Sustainability, Scaling Up Humanitarian Actions and Resilience Investment. This meeting, as all you know, mainly to review and follow up what achieved so far nationally and also regionally, to determine the constraints and challenges we met and lessons learned we derived. Although we are responsible in our countries for the implementation of drought resilience intervention, there is still much need to be definitely and innovatively to guarantee the achievement of the IDDRSI goal regarding climate change, conflict resolution, and economic shocks food insecurity, and floods, which we've seen critical vulnerabilities and severely undermine the livelihood of our communities. To overcome all the above, I want here to stress some issues, which is, I think it is very important for our development and to achieve our goals. We have to, even at member state, we have to coordinate our efforts and building synergy between our countries. We have to share knowledge, and also we have to get use of the great opportunities of that. Sudan is rich in its resources, and we have to try to make partnerships with each other to overcome all the constraints we are meeting. We have to find a mechanism also to coordinate at our member state levels. I thank you